Evening, you wild roving band of questers, Simplicity here. And if you chose Initiatory Gateway number 3 that had as the basis of the matter random clip art and the new energy signature coming in as the Sword Hoarder, along with this key here. Ooh, I spy. I spy. It's got that vibe, being able to peer into another's world. I do have this energy that you have somebody who's trying to peer into your world. You actually have quite an opponent out of all the different paths and options that have come in for this pick your own adventure quest that kicks off with the Aries new moon that's coming up on the 29th. It is a partial solar eclipse, and it is going to kick off this particular quest that will lead us up to the Sagittarius full moon on the 11th of June. It's pretty interesting. Out of all these piles, you have the most formidable opponent, okay? At least in their own mind. That's kind of how the energy is coming through. So I do want to give my initial download for you. If you're like, Broad, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Pick your adventure, pick your quest. What is this? This is the first time I'm ever even seen something like this come up on my feed. Then I encourage you to check out the video that I will have pinned in the comments or posted in the description box, or perhaps I'll put it up somewhere up here in this video as a card for you to tune into. It's a collective download explaining this energy that's coming in. And then we drop in a little deeper and give you an option to pick your adventure through 3 different options of initiatory gateways into the energy that's rolling out, right? So this is for those who picked Initiatory Gateway 3. I do feel like this is sort of the energy that you're entering this quest with, this random clip art. I feel like there's a lot that you've been letting go. I feel like you're in this place where you're giving birth to an updated version of yourself, as well as an updated vision of your future. There's something about just flushing all the BS away, like almost like clean slate kind of energy. A lot of you are making big cuts in your life. You've already made some pretty severe cuts. You cut off certain people, places, things. You really got a sense of what you wanted to ward from your future going forward. And so you've really just been in this radical process of letting a lot of old stuff go, as well as beliefs that you've had, ways that you saw yourself, what you thought you were going to be doing. There's just like this complete reorientation happening here. A lot of you are in the process of taking care of your health. You're getting back into the gym. You're starting to be mindful of health is wealth, and really understanding that you're going to need to have strength, longevity, energy for what's to come up ahead of you. I do feel like you are leveling up here, and it's going to ask a lot out of you. There's also a need to sort of like take out the trash that has been sort of clogging up the creative brain space, so you can really stay focused on what lies up ahead. I do feel like there is some energy that's targeted towards you. We're going to get into that in a minute with this opponent you got facing off with you here. But what I know is very clear for you is you're actively involved in your transformation. You're well aware that a transformation is underway. You're already quite a bit a ways into that journey, and there's more to come. There's certain theatrics that have been cast aside. There's certain people that you began to see were wearing masks with you, playing roles with you. You also began to see ways that you were playing roles that don't really serve you anymore either. I feel like you're making room for your dance card to be filled with new potential partners. And this comes in all areas of life. You're just ready to connect with new sources of inspiration, new people, new ideas, new experiences. There's like a lot of desire within this group to experience new things. And yet this also brings with it its share of blockage from others who would like you to just sort of stay where you were before. They don't want you to go through this transformation. There's also something about the way you're moving forward that really goes against the grain. So it's not easy getting there, but it will be worth it. And there is big reward on offer. Now, I feel that you have an opponent who sort of wanted to claim your spot. And they may have done this by a little bit of subversive means. They may have done something behind your back. They may have swiped an opportunity that they thought was something you really wanted. They could have gone close to somebody that was, the person you were developing a relationship with, and they inserted themselves in that situation. In some way, shape, or form, you have somebody who feels like they claimed your spot. They claimed your spot. They got something that they felt you really wanted, and they see themselves as the victor in a sense. And they're really holding strong in that position. I see this person as the sword hoarder, because what they don't understand is that what they're really holding in their hands, what they think is some kind of trophy, is actually all the pain that they took away from you in sort of swapping places with you. And they're about to intimately come to understand that burden if they haven't already started to have an inkling. See, you never were meant to go there. This could have been a situation that you did have your heart set on at one time, but you outgrew this, or it somehow is outdated. It doesn't apply to who you are anymore. And I don't think it was difficult for you to release this. It doesn't feel like it. Because though there may have been some hardship around this for you initially, ultimately, as this was taken from you, you started to feel more of a sense of relief wash over you. And that might have even been something that puzzled you at first, but it's something you will come to understand down the road. Now, I feel like this person is still sort of there, like holding down the position, and they're in a sort of defensive posturing. It's almost like they want you to come and contest this, but I think you're like okay with it. It doesn't feel like you're even looking in this direction, to be honest with you. But this person's about to realize that they inherited your swords, and these are not swords of truth. These are the swords that were stuck in your back. It's like somebody wanting so badly to have what was yours that they're going to get exactly what they asked for. That's why you kind of have to be careful when you make those wishes, because they just might come true. You might just get what you want, but you may not know what you're asking for. And it's got those kind of vibes. Now, it's interesting, because they wanted to seize control of your new beginnings, but your new beginnings aren't in that direction. All they seize control of is a dying world. And meanwhile, you're hatching a totally new vision. And you may have an inkling of this, but I don't feel like it's really arrived on the scene just yet. That path that ignites the spark of your inspiration and your creativity, the one that's going to blaze a trail to your future and radically transform your life, or even where you thought you would end up ultimately, there is some kind of like surprise twist here. There's also something you're charged to do as you open up this road, okay? There is going to be an experience that comes your way with the new moon that sort of shines a spotlight that gets you heading down the right path. It's an experience that comes your way that day to point the way, so do pay attention, all right? With this road that opens up for you, there is a task that you must complete. It's almost like it's a clause in you ending up in this final destination that you're meant to arrive at. It's like it's a tall order, this task that you have to complete. It might even seem something to you at the surface level that is almost impossible. But you can make 6 impossible things happen before breakfast, okay? That air sign, next 72-hour download that came in ways back is being activated for you now. I will put up a card for that so you can tune into it, okay? Especially pay attention over the next 72 hours because the new moon will hit within the next 72 hours. It arrives this Saturday at the time that I am filming this. So do be on the lookout for that. Okay. Meanwhile, I do feel that you need to really rely on your connection to your roots at this time. That is something that will give you a lot of strength, especially spiritually. I had the rune Ingwas come in for you. And Ingwas is one of the runes that there's no reversals for. So I don't feel like reversals are up ahead of you. I just feel like there's challenges that are up ahead of you. You already kind of got over the roughest part of your journey. There was already a lot of stuff that you had to let go of. You already integrated everything that sort of brought you to, in some cases, for some of you, it was a breaking point. And when I say breaking point, I mean that it really made you break away from identifying with a path that you had been very loyal to at a certain point, or that you just assumed this is the way I'm going, this is what is meant for me. It just radically shifted something for you. And with that, there is no going back. There is a sense that you're being trailed not only by this particular opponent. Okay, I do feel like there's one person here where there's really been an intense amount of opposition and somebody really trying to insert themselves as the main character in your storyline. But I do feel like there's 2 others that are attached to them, and they've been sort of trailing your energy. That's the way it's coming in. And I saw it as almost like staying a safe distance behind you so they can kind of see what you're up to, like keep an eye on you. But there's now almost like this imagery of this fog coming over that is concealing your steps. And these 3 that were actively engaged in this head game are now being put in a position of trying to find their way through the fog. I don't know why, but see, this is interesting with your key, because I feel like this is your energy here. You're up ahead and you're about to step on this path that's rising up to meet you with the new moon that's coming in. And here's the 3 who've sort of been trailing you, with your main opponent flanked, by these 2 others. And this is like that south node energy that you rose up out of that will eventually become like the miraculous chalice once you hit your point of completing this task that aligns you with your stone of destiny. In the meantime, though, I feel this fog is coming in to conceal this alignment so that you're not trailed by these characters moving forward. There may be a need to sort of ward your steps. Also, just, keep things to yourself for a bit, move a bit like a lone wolf, because I do feel like you are coming into some place of gratification. There are no reversals up ahead. But if you were to get caught up, if you were to get drawn in by some kind of provocation, then you could really trip up. And I think it could delay you in completing this task. There might be something that's really time sensitive about completing this task in order for things to line up just so. Yeah, see, you definitely are really in this position where you're given a finger to anything that's going to block your way. And there already is a lot that you've released here. Mahakala is here, which is the devourer of all enemies of truth. So I do feel like you're armed with a certain truth here. And it's like that crown is there. You've already, you know, recognized where the BS is that needs to be sort of, you know, flushed away, where you need to have a new view. I do feel like you took a particular bull by its horns and you've gained self-mastery. That's what it really feels like to me. It could be easy to sort of like project it onto somebody else outside of yourself, but I think you recognize that that was kind of a tripping point, and it was actually a bit of a hook, something that kept you in a repetitive cycle. So instead, you just chose to sort of say, screw everything, screw everybody. I'm going to go my own way, you know? And this is actually a good way for you to go right now, because you do need to stay really focused and you need to be on your game moving forward here. I think that, you know, as long as you're not getting drawn back into old BS, then you're not going to be back in a hot seat that you found yourself in a while ago. I mean, I do feel like you found yourself really in the belly of the beast. There was something you came across, there was something you discovered. It may have enraged you, okay? It may have been something that really burned you at the time. Somebody may have really pulled something with you that incensed you, but I think you recognize that that was going to just kind of keep you stuck there if you focused on that. It's like you needed to see a certain truth. It was probably difficult for you to take in, but ultimately you recognize that it was necessary, because whatever this was holding you back. And I do feel like you walked away from it. I'm not seeing anything in your new energy that shows you in a position of like feeling caught up in any way or held back in any way. It's more that your life has just been sort of random up to this point. You know, you may have been wondering, like, is there a purpose to any of this? Because you've just been kind of, you know, focused on yourself, doing your own thing. I do feel like there is a lot of release work you've been doing, but in general, this looks just kind of like a sort of like a grab bag sort of energy. Maybe exploring your options. I mean, it does look like there's been a lot of focus on cutting off things that aren't healthy and really wanting to do away with like false fronts, you know? And that applies not only to people that you were dealing with, but also ways that you felt like, you know, that's not really me anymore. That's not who I am. So just a lot of transformation here is where I see your focus has been. But the basis of the matter is pretty brutal. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I think you went through a really difficult passage, but it's sort of like you earned your chops, you know? So your time of reversal is done. And yet somebody here is really fixated on you and they feel like they got some prize or something. That's what it looks like. But they don't recognize that they're actually going to really discover what it's like to be you. They wanted to be you so bad. Well, you're going to find out that's not such an easy ride, because who you were, what you're coming from here, it's pretty rough, man. It is pretty rough. I mean, this effing guy, man, is going to get a new view. They don't have it yet, but they will. It may take them all the way until they reach that full moon in Sagittarius on June 11th. But one breath at a time, they're going to figure out what it takes to take the walk the mile in your shoes, you know? And I think they're going to get quite a different view at that time. And maybe that's why you haven't felt like you needed to deal with this, why you needed to say anything. It's like, oh, okay. You wanted my spot? Oh, you wanted knowledge of what it was like to be me? All right, you're going to find out. It's not the easiest walk here. Meanwhile, you're unlocking a treasure trove of secrets here. I do feel with the great horned owl here that these new beginnings you have coming in here are very well protected. A lot of you come from bloodlines that have very strong like warrior spirits. And so that is why it's very important for you to connect with their energy right now, connect with your roots, also connect with your magic as well. You may be recovering a certain magic. It influences the way that you call in your manifestations, something a little bit different. Something a little different that's the source of your roots, but it has you branching out and up. It brings you into alignment with your vision in a new way, and it does give you a certain level of tenacity to move you forward and outwit these kind of players here. There is some kind of knowledge that's awakening in you, but I also feel like you do have, like, somebody's got their eye on you and they're trying to figure out where you're going. But you see this, like, this fog is coming in that's throwing off the coordinates to your ultimate destination here, because these people aren't meant to come along with you here. Whoever these three are, they're not meant to come along with you. And that's going to be different for all of you. But there are three that are being averted here. But there's one that's sort of like the main focal point of opposition here, or they like to see themselves that way, because I don't think you feel their opposition. That's how it's kind of coming out. You don't really feel like they're an opponent. You're like, it's not like you even fought them for this thing that they claimed. I don't think you contested it. I don't think you got in a battle over it. I think you were just like, all right. I'm sorry, that's how it's coming out. Like, there's somebody here who really relishes being the villain in your story. But I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing that that's where your focal point is. Yeah, look at that. It's like, no, I flushed that a long time ago. Like, I don't care about that. I'm not going that way. You know, you do you, boo. That's what it looks like. All right, let's check this out. See what we got in here. I mean, yeah, you know, we got the king shit here. That's where you're at, you know? You're like, I let that shit go. I'm going where I'm going. I'm focused on where I'm going. You can have that, you know? You're going to find out it's not all it's cracked up to be. All right, let's see what we got here. Very interesting energy coming in. I'm really curious what this task is that you have to complete. Ooh, I like it. I like it. You see, somebody's just been silly here. Somebody's been playing games. Old Aunt Brenda here. There she is again. She thought she had you under her control. She thought she had you under her spell. She thought she was going to ring that bell, school you, tell you what was what. But there's a certain transformation that's going to come in here for old Aunt Brenda to really teach her that she has a thing or two to learn here. She doesn't really have the upper hand that she thinks she does. And it's funny because it's like, you're almost like wearing this mask. It's like you're cheating death. You're sort of playing dead. It's got like playing possum kind of vibes. Like, oh yeah, I'm down for the count. Boy, you really got one over on me, Aunt Brenda. I mean, woe is me. My future's lost. And meanwhile, it's just sort of like you're mastering the hunt here. It's like you're dealing with fools. You're dealing with foolishness. Meanwhile, you got your focus on lock here. You know what your target is. You know what you're aiming for, and you're mastering this hunt. I like it. And I know it's going to turn out well for you. Because remember, we talked about that with the key here, you know? You see this almost like miraculous chalice energy. Once these are sort of cleared off the path because they get lost in the fog, and you've aligned with that vision, what pours into you? You got the gravy train coming your way. I mean, we got the gravy funnel here. And you may feel a little bit cocky about that. I have to say, I do see that when this moment comes in, there are going to be eyes that are watching you. They're going to be seeing you receive this. And they may think that you're being a little too cocky about it. But it's like, are you? Are you? I mean, what was going on with them when they took all of this from you and they stood there hoarding it and, you know, behaving like schoolyard bullies, like, nah, 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 look what I got. They thought it was funny. They thought it was funny. They thought it was funny to kick you when you were down. They had some laughs at your pain, you know. Who's cocky here? It's like somebody tried to play God in your life. And now they're recognizing that, you know, Yeah, they inherited it all, right? They inherited your empire of dirt, you know? That's what I feel. It's like what they got out of the deal is really the losing end, but they thought that they were the victor. But it's sort of like I see it as a moment where spirit's going to make it right in the eyes of others so they can learn something through what you're receiving here. And it's interesting because that infinity symbol is there. And if you look here, okay, there is an infinity symbol right here. Turn it on its side, see? But it's been blocked. It's been blocked. There's been interception in the meeting of this point of manifestation and coming together. It's really kind of an interesting energy because I feel like you're not on this timeline anymore, but it's really wild the way that this old energy is still very attached and focused on you. You're not oriented in that direction at all, though. It's really quite clear here. Let me do a cut of the deck and then we'll get into the angels and imps. Yeah, I mean, you've gotten a lot of space from this. Like, you feel like you're in a whole other, universe out there. You're not even in the same sphere as these people anymore. And I think you've had a lot of time and space from this too. You know? Yeah, you cut something off. You cut something off with sex, witch, and octopus here. You recognize whatever this was, it was really having too much of a hold on you. It was something that was preventing you from bringing your creative energy forward. It was something that was keeping you feeling really held back, in some cases controlled, just not able to move forward freely. This could have been somebody that was connected to a lover of yours. This could have been somebody who connected with a lover of yours as a way to sort of like steal some of your essence or something like this. But I think ultimately you just recognize, like, nah, I don't need this. I don't need this. This is going to hold me back. I got other places to go. I got other things to do. You can have that. And you released it. I mean, it's very clear. There's space from this issue. There's been distance from this issue. You're focused in a different direction. And maybe it's been sort of just like, well, I don't really know what's up next. Maybe a little bit of this, a little bit of that. That's what it feels like. It feels like you've just kind of been exploring while you've also been doing a lot of letting go of stuff that you know has been holding you back personally. It's like you've been taking care of your own internal work here, stuff you're responsible for. But the path is about to come in. And it's that moment you've been waiting for. It's the gravy trains pulling up to the station, man. I want to see what's behind the sex witch and octopus here. Oh, yeah. See? Yep. It was a parasitic fruit. And you recognized that. You knew that, yeah, something can look tempting, but I know what it gets me. And you see that birthing portal there all corded into. This is like something that was really just taking and taking and taking and taking. It's like the poison apple that the witch holds out and says, ooh, isn't it pretty? Doesn't it look delicious? It's kind of that golden apple that Eris like threw into the banquet hall to stir up dissension. It's like maybe everybody wanted to battle it out for this, whatever was sort of symbolized by that apple, that prize. But you knew what comes with that. And you didn't take a bite. You left that behind. You left big, sexy Satan behind. Yeah, because you've been there before. You get totally effed when you mess around with big, sexy Satan. Next thing you know, you don't know whether you're coming or going, and see, this is what this person is going to discover who played these games with you. Soon, they're going to be on this side. They're going to experience what it's like when you have all these mothers like draining your energy, corded into you, blocking off every pathway of possible progression in your life. It's not all it's cracked up to be. And then they're going to understand your pain. See, it's like ultimately, even those who oppose you end up getting something out of the deal too. They're going to learn some compassion. They're going to learn some empathy. Maybe somebody within this little trio of troublemakers claim to be an empath. Well, they're about to learn true empathy. That's what I feel. All right. Ooh, and an imp wanted to trail behind as I brought out this deck. What do we got here? Four of Cups. Yeah, not all it's cracked up to be. See, they're going to be consoling each other now. Yeah. Yeah, it seemed like a good plan. Wasn't such a great plan. Yeah, this was a tag team effort, certainly. I do feel like there were three involved in this situation, okay? There was something here they were after of yours. They wanted to steal it. They wanted to fetch it for their own. They wanted it to be their chariot forward. In some cases, they even, ripped you off financially. They stole your money, okay? But there's also something here about learning about these secret things. You discovered this, you were able to identify where the trouble was coming from, where the loss was coming from. And I think it was through people that you were very familiar with, like people you would have never suspected to do that. You learned that you were connected to questionable familiars. These may even be people that used to come around and act like they were there to support you, and they knew you were going through stuff and they wanted to be there to help you out, but you knew that they were using the information they were getting against you. Even with the way that they would sort of like try to console you or give you support, it felt very questionable. You'll know who this is by that. Yeah, there was just a lot of conflict here. With the Five of Wands, there was also a lot of competitiveness in your situation, a lot of politics in your situation as well, a lot of infighting, a lot of disloyalty within your circle that you were familiar with. I think that's why you broke free. And that was a good judgment call that you made there, and it does protect you from those who were deceiving you, all right? So it also made clear what the truth was. And I think there came a point where you really had to differentiate between that. What I'm curious about is what's this task that you need to complete? Because that seems like that's your main objective. Like all this stuff is just sort of like the history of your situation. And yes, they still have their eyes on you, but they don't really have any power in this situation because you don't care. I mean, that's how it's coming out. You don't care. You don't care. Six of Wands in reverse. You're like, okay, you won. Like, it's not a victory. I didn't even want that. Yeah, see, it says bring souls back from the dead to answer questions. It's like, no, you got this in reverse. You're like, I don't have any questions about it. It's of no interest to me. Have your victory. Like, you'll be surprised when you see what you really won here. Yeah, look at that. The checkmate moment, with the 10 of Wands. It's a burden. You won a burden. Yeah. The person who caused this sort of like unrest, upheaval in your life is going to understand what it's like to actually have to hold that unrest, what it's like to have to move through a state of upheaval, what it's like to have all these burdens. It's like, yeah, they got a checkmate moment and now they got to carry this with them. And there's something about it. It's a real burden. It's a burden for them. It's like now they want to kind of like shapeshift. I can see that. Once they feel the weight of their actions, this person's going to want to try to shapeshift. They're going to want to come around and like maybe try to make peace with you. It's possible in some cases. I just don't feel like you're oriented in that direction at all. That's how it's coming out. Yeah, we got the lovers here, okay? We got the lovers here. So this could be somebody that was connected to a lover of yours, right? It could have been your lover. It's possible. I do feel like there's somebody here that wants to try to come back together again, but it says they can make women barren. In other words, they block off all avenues for new beginnings, for creativity in your life. It's like it will block your progress at this point. So I would really continue to be mindful about not going back to where you came from in relation to this energy. This energy is really something that could block your new beginnings here. Yeah, confirmation on that with the Six of Swords coming through and something just fell on the floor. Okay. You might be coming into alignment with somebody entirely new here. Okay, we do have a Two of Cups. If you keep moving away from this energy, let me see what fell on the ground here. Something's cast away here. The High Priestess got cast away. All right. So, I mean, there might be something for you to check out in Initiatory Gateway 2, because this might highlight who you were dealing with, because the High Priestess factored into that situation pretty strongly. It's like you've cast away this High Priestess. So you did have somebody formidable here that was working in opposition to you. They may have even been trying to drive a wedge between you and another, cause suspicion between you and another, maybe you and a lover. I could see that with how this came out. But you've already sort of figured out that the best way for you to move forward is to just keep moving away from this situation, keep moving away from this influence. With the Six of Swords here, you knew that this is what was going to protect you from further hardship. That was a wise call, because what landed right on top of the Six of Swords is the Two of Cups here. And look, and there's that 8 energy. Isn't that interesting? Where'd your key go? It's just like on your key. You see? You see? So there's some union that's being made possible for you because you moved away from this energy. Actually, it's quite the opposite. It's almost like they thought that they were blocking something for you, but they weren't. They were actually opening your road. It may have been rough. It may have been like a little bit of a blockbuster kind of energy. Like, I don't think that this was easy for you to move through. It feels like it was pretty intense. I mean, we see that they're holding a lot of swords here. That's a lot of frickin' swords, all right? This was a very painful experience. It was really brutal. But I think it's something that went on for a long time. You know, I think you became aware of it finally and moved away from this influence. But I think this has like history to it. Like, this person had been pulling this crap with you for a long time. It really does feel like it's sort of like one central figure, and then there was a couple other people that were connected. This sort of drove the knife in, and it just twisted it a little bit more. You know what I mean? I think because it caused you to have falling out with people that you once felt very close to. That's what it feels like loved ones or a really close friend, somebody you trusted to, like, aligned with this person who was causing you a lot of pain. And with that, yeah, you discovered this, the moon in reverse. So what was done in the dark, what was hidden under the light of the moon, is something that got revealed to you here. Yeah. Where you had a blind spot, you weren't blind anymore. You saw clearly. Maybe you didn't want to see that, but you did see. Energies that we have on the board, just so we can kind of get some ideas here about who you may have been dealing with. We have Gemini. We have Pisces. We have Cancer. We have Aries energy, Sagittarian energy. Those born in the year of the rooster. Okay. You could be one of these signs too, right? Don't get too attached to that, but just sort of giving you an idea of the type of energies you were working with here. Any other details you want to offer up around this for this particular initiatory gateway? I mean, it really looks like you just need to stay the course here. This isn't your battle. That's what I just heard. This isn't your battle. And maybe you already know like what you need to do. There might be something you've been really focused on, or you will very soon. Yeah, I mean, you're on a wisdom journey here with the Hermit. All right? You already called time out on something. There's already something that you cut off. You separated the wheat from the chaff. You're in the point of alchemy and transformation right now. It's going down right now. And you're totally being helped with your progress on a spiritual level. So this is about keep going. You've already mastered the hunt. This is the point where you've already been cast into the sea and you're in your process of transformation. You're about to emerge as Taliesin, as Merlin, as the great bard that is ready to head off onto the adventure. And there may be something or someone of significance that you are coming into alignment with here. Okay, this is very possible. Especially because Ingwas came in for you. And a lot of times Ingwas can be considered like the masculine counterpart, the exalted masculine here. So this is very interesting energy. And with that, I just turned it over. What's crossing? The King of Cups. So you haven't crossed this bridge yet, but it does look like there's a King of Cups that's coming your way. And this is a good familiar. It says brings good familiars, okay? So this is somebody yet to cross your path. And the road does open up for this with the Two of Wands, okay? Love and wisdom, victory over those who would attack you. All right, so I'm going to do one more round here just to see if I can find out what is this task that you must complete. And maybe you're not meant to know yet. It's possible. But this seems like a pretty, clear message for this particular group. You're already in the process of transformation. I sort of feel like it's just keep going, okay? Keep going. Maybe you've been like reflecting too much on what happened back there. And it's time to really just disentangle yourself from that, even from just letting it take up any mental space. Now it's possible that their energy could be, pulling on you because they're obviously fixated on you. I mean, you do have people that are keeping an eye on you here. But I think it's up to you to just stay really focused and do what you've been doing. What is this task that Gateway 3 here needs to complete? We only had one card come out. 3 of Cups. It says it brings great discoveries and voyages. So I feel like this is what's opening up for you. You haven't necessarily received this assignment yet, right? You may have a sense of something big coming up. You may have been feeling like something big is about to happen, but you haven't had any reference point for it because, things have just kind of been like this, just like sort of random, like no big deal, business as usual, nothing has felt particularly poignant. Let's say that. But I feel like that's all about to change. And it was 44:13 on the clock when I said that. So 13 breaks down to 4, 4, 4, 4. No, this is a synchronicity coming in. It's going to bring that alignment. Remember that imagery where the path was just a little off center, and that was the path that, your opponent has their eyes fixated on because they think it's your path. No, this is what you're about to arrive at here, this alignment point. right? This alignment point. When you'll receive your directive, okay, because it says the right hand of God. So it's like you're going to receive your directive from spirit at that point. It's going to be very clear. I feel like that's what's coming in with the new moon. It's going to be the path opening up through like getting your assignment. You're getting some kind of task that you have to complete. And your job is to not get pulled back in an old mess or get distracted from it. Whatever this is, it brings fame and renown. There's some great discovery that comes through this. It opens up a big voyage for you. It also influences commerce. So fortune's on the rise with this, whatever this is. All right. It does look like it's protected. It does look like it's something that's going to bring healing for you. It does look like it's something that's also going to be cause for celebration in the future. But it's all through your transformation here. You're going to understand why you had to be held up for so long. I feel like this particular gateway has been waiting a long time to get to the other side of something and wondering, when am I going to get there? Like, what was all that for? Because I do feel like whatever this was that you went through, it took a lot out of you to take the high road. It really did. You could have aimed low, but you really just kind of kept your head held high. And you moved through that experience with a certain kind of dignity, I have to say. And so you may have just felt like, things didn't feel right or feel balanced, because how can people do such sinister things and yet they seem to get all the reward while you're like trying to walk the path of purpose and always feeling like blocked or held back. But you're not going to feel like such a martyr when this comes through. When you see the way things line up, you'll recognize that you actually were being taken out of a situation that would have put you through another cycle of pain that you've already risen up out of multiple times. I really feel that, okay? So whatever this is, it's going to draw a lot of attention. Whatever this task that you must complete, once it's completed, it's going to draw a lot of attention. The word will spread about this. That's what I feel. It does increase your fortune, and it's something that really opens up, like, it feels like a life journey for you. You know what I mean? It's when your road opens up in life in such a way that it's like, this was the point that everything in my life changed. And there's going to be a lot you're going to discover going down this road. I think you just really need to remember, like, I'm not going back that way. There's nothing really that you need to address here. Not from what I'm seeing with this. This is a really malicious, abusive energy here that I just see. Like, there's just so many swords here. And this person, it's like they're proud of it. Like every sword that they put in your back, like they're proud of it. It's like a trophy for them. It's like really warped energy. I don't like that energy at all. Okay, let me do a cut of the deck here and see what we got. 10 of Pentacles. Do you see? It may have been long suffering. All right, this pearl of wisdom that you're getting here, but you're aligned with your truth and your aim is true as well. You just got to keep your focus here. There is a new beginning you got here. It's warded, and it brings you the 10 of Pentacles. And this is a direct result of all the inner work you've done. It's because you did the inner work, you're going to see the manifestation in your outer reality. It's also going to help you in terms of just your practical stability. Okay, so if you did deal with a lot of loss, there was that piece there where you could have been dealing with some theft. Somebody could have stolen something from you in terms of financially, or they could have affected your business in such a way where you experienced a great loss. Okay, there could have been something shady that happened on that level. I do feel like you dealt with some financial reversal or some very practical challenges here that affected your stability. And something here is getting rectified. Something here is being balanced out. And you're also going to be protected against any disasters. So it doesn't matter. Like, whoever this character is, they could sit and hatch all the plots they wanted to. It's not going to be effective. I'm telling you, this moment's coming in where the three that were tied up in this are about to get lost in a fog. And they're going to directly understand what it's like to be in your shoes. For some of you, that's all you wanted. You wanted this person or these people to understand what it's like to walk a mile in your shoes. Well, they're about to discover that with the devil on the other side here, right? And with that, it says, makes one worse off than ever before, tricks mortals into being bound. So yeah, that's what I'm saying here. It's like, yeah, you got the prize. You won, but it's not what they thought it was. You know, tricky, tricky, tricky. That devil, you know, will make you believe if you sign on the dotted line, you're getting everything your heart's desired. Then when you see what you really got, you realize that he got you good. Don't mess with old Scratch there, man. I do feel like a score is about to be settled here, but it's sort of like out of your hands. Just let this roll out and pay attention. Keep doing whatever you've been doing. Stay focused here. It looks really good. We had Capricorn energy come in here. We got Virgo energy coming in. Still got water sign energy factoring strongly here too. Okay. Yeah, just keep your eyes out for anything that even sort of resembles spaces, places, scenarios you've encountered before. Whatever this is that's opening up for you, it's something unfamiliar. It's something brand new. It's something that really speaks to this transformation you've been through. And it will feel progressive. It will feel progressive. If you're feeling stagnancy, if you're feeling in any way impeded, if you're feeling like it's taking you back into old emotional spaces that you've already cleared, you know that's not the way. So I do feel like there's something coming through here about being really mindful of your steps, you know, making sure you're staying sort of in this rhythm that you're in. And I don't know if that's coming in because there could be somebody coming around that wants to kind of like stir things up, try to get you pulled back into something that you already made the break from. Just, you know, be aware of that, okay? But this, to me, it looks pretty good. Now, that's what I'm saying right now. I don't know what your task is. I don't know, you know, I don't know what your task is, but I do feel that even if it seems impossible, you're actually able to pull something off that maybe you never even dreamed you'd have your hand at, you know? You never even thought you'd have your hand at this. Like, you never even thought you'd even be in a position to even try, right? But the fact that this opportunity is going to be given to you, you absolutely got what it takes to see it through. So go for it. All right? Godspeed.